see. Mal and I got back from our spree this morning. Didn't we, Mal?
Yeah, on the express this morning.
Yeah, the express at 8:20. I got up earlier this morning than I have got up for years.
Well, Ginger, it's very nice to see you both back alive.
I only wish you meant it.
But I do mean it. I'd rather have you here beside me insulting me than away when I can't hear what you're saying.
But, Mr. Dear, why?
Well, I think that would be the lesser of the two evils, you see.
Oh.
I think that would be the lesser of the two evils.
Oh, that reminds me, Mr. Dear.
What does it remind you
or
of?
Or should I say Mr. Terry Dear of 3RW, Latrobe Street, Melbourne?
Sir.
Sir.
That's right. Go
Squib,
on.
I should have said squib.
Go on. What does that remind you of?
On the train last night, on the railway train.
Yes, Ginger.
Mel and I were eating walnuts.
Dear, I think that'll be the lesser of two evils, and you and Mal are sitting on the train eating walnuts.
Yeah. Yeah, we were, weren't we, Mal?
Yeah, that's right. We had a feed of walnuts.
Yeah. And I cracked the walnut, and I opened it, and inside were two weevils.
Two weevils?
Mm-hmm. Two lady weevils.
Ginger, how do you know whether they're lady weevils or men weevils? I said, how do you know whether they're lady weevils or men weevils?
Well, you tell them a dirty... you tell them a story, you see.
Yes.
And if she laughs, it's a lady weevil. And if he laughs, it's a man weevil.
That's beautiful. That's as clear as mud. Go on.
Yeah, and these two lady weevils were talking. They had their own sleeping compartment.
Yes, Ginger.
They crawled out of our walnuts into our sleepers.
Yes, Ginger. The two
and
lady
these
weevils
two
were
lady
talking.
weevils were talking, and one said, you know those two brother weevils? She said, well, I don't know whether to go out with the tall one or the short one. And the other one says, well, if I was you, Toots, she said, I'd choose the lesser of the two weevils.
Ginger.
Have you recovered yet?
Yes, I just about got back on my feet. How did you sleep last night?
Well, I didn't too good.
Didn't so?
Not too good, too long, not so much.
Not so fast.
Not so slow.
That's fine. I'm very worried to hear about it.
Yeah, I'm worried about my goldfish.
How many goldfish have you, Gins?
Only one, and he's crazy.
I do.
Listen, don't give me that. Who in the world ever heard of a crazy goldfish?
Well, I got one. You should see it. This goldfish is so crazy it walks around the house all day, singing, how dry I am, how dry I am, how dry I am.
Well, that's the third verse.
How dry I am.
That's the fourth verse. It can't be as dry as all that.
Well, this goldfish is. It's absolutely mad as a rattlesnake.
Well, how did it get that way?
It's plain crazy.
How did it get that way?
What way?
Plain crazy, nuts. How did it get that way?
Who?
Your goldfish.
Oh, the goldfish
You
went
started
crazy.
this? Yes, that's right.
Yes. And it was all my fault.
Was it really?
And I feel so ashamed.
You feel ashamed. Ashamed.
I feel worse than that.
Ew.
I feel such a prawn. I could cry tears. I really could.
Real tears?
Volunteers. You see, I was teaching the goldfish to balance itself on a walnut.
You were teaching the goldfish to balance itself on a walnut.
Yeah, and at the same time, juggle 3 peas.
You were teaching the goldfish to balance itself on a walnut and at the same time juggle 3 peas.
Yeah, and one day it was balancing on the walnut and...
Yes, go on.
It slipped. It slipped.
Yeah, go on. Listen, the goldfish was balancing itself on the walnut and it slipped.
Yes.
Yeah, and it went off its nut.
Ginger, for heaven's sake, I think you've got water on the brain.
No, but my brother Elmer, he's got water on the brain. He's living on the water himself.
Is he?
Yeah, he has a houseboat.
Oh, a houseboat, has he?
Houseboat, yeah, a floating house. The house sort of floats on a lake.
Oh, I see.
In the middle of the lake, sort of floats around, etc.
I see. Just about the entrance. And Elmer lived on this boat, did he?
Lived on this houseboat.
Yes, I see.
Yeah, but not for long.
Oh?
He had to give it up. His health broke down. He wore himself out rowing the damn cat ashore every night. You are awful.
Ginger.
Oh, you're here again.
Yes, listen. Did your brother...
Quieten down while I listen to Husky. How you doing, Husky? It's about time your throat had a retread, isn't it?
Did your brother have any other pets?
Oh, he had a dog, and a good dog, too.
Did he have a license?
Pardon?
I say. Has the dog got a license?
Well, yeah, nice. Oh, thousands, yeah. Funny thing, all his life, my brother Elmer longed to have a dog called Ben.
What a crazy family.
All his life.
Elmer longed to have a dog called Ben.
Yes, all his life it didn't matter what it was, he wanted to call his dog Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got this little puppy, he called it Ben. But when it grew up, it wasn't that sort of a dog.
Oh, I see. So he couldn't really call him Ben.
No, but
Difficult.
he did want to call it Ben.
Yes.
But he couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Not sort of legally, you know.
No, of course not. No, I quite understand, Ginger.
And it worried him for ages, but he's solved the problem now.
He solved the problem now, calling this dog Ben. Now, what's he call it?
Ben-Hur.
Well, I should admit that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah, you said it. Hey, did you hear about the mosquito plague at the nudist
Ginger,
colony?
we don't want to hear about that.
I don't want it.
Oh, it's a beauty. It's a sniff. It's a corker.
As a matter of fact, Ginger, I've had a few letters requesting me to sing a song. That's what I've had a few
Did you
letters
hear about the
requesting me to sing.
mosquito plague at the
I
nudist
don't want to hear
colony?
about the mosquito plague in the nudist colony. Thank you very much. No.
The nudists have got a big following.
Yeah,
We
but
don't want to
as
hear
for
about
me,
them.
Yeah?
Who follows them?
The mosquitoes, I think.
Ginger! Forget about the mosquito plague in the nudist
You ought to
colony.
hear the
please.
ones they won't let me tell. Whoopee! What are you talking about, Mr. Dear?
I told you several times that I've had a few letters requesting me to sing a song.
Can I make a request?
Yes, certainly.
Please don't sing.
Well, Ginger, as a matter of fact, I'm scheduled to sing When the Swallows Homeward Fly.
When who swallows homemade pies?
Ginger, flies.
Oh, homegrown flies.
No, look, it's a sentimental ballad.
Oh, first it was the pie and now it's salad.
Ginger Mal didn't say salad, he said ballad. A ballad is a song.
Then why don't you call it a song?
This song,
Question mark.
this happens to be a ballad.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Just the same as a ham sandwich is a monkey wrench.
Yes, no. I'd like to know how long a person can live without brains.
I don't know. How old are you?
Now, look here, I'll have you know that I come from a family of brains. What?
Well, you must have been disinherited.
You haven't got enough brains to argue with a pig.
Well, I'm doing my best.
Listen, anyone would think you took Terry for a fool.
Yeah, no, I don't. But I might be mistaken.
Listen, where do you get your brains, anyway?
Oh, you ought to know, Mel. I put all my brains into poetry.
Ginger, you still writing that crazy poetry?
Yeah, listen, I wrote this on the train, this hunk of poetry.
Uh-huh.
The king was in the counting house counting cash in stacks. And along came a government man and took it all for tax.
Well, I don't think much of that, Gin. Why don't you recite something with feeling?
With feeling?
Yes, something
sensible.
sensible.
You want something with feeling?
Yes, that's right. Something really sensible.
Sensible.
Yes, and with feeling. That's right, yes.
Sensible. There. Mary Rose sat on a tack. Mary Rose.
Ginger, there's no...
How's that, eh?
There's no sense in that.
Huh?
There's no sense in that.
No, but there's feeling.
Listen, do you call that poetry?
Yeah.
Well, I don't. I don't think you could rhyme to save your life.
Neither do I.
Oh, is that so?
Yes.
Just say something and see me rhyme it.
All right, rhyme this. I like molasses.
It's good to keep your fur up.
I beg your pardon?
It's good to keep your fur.
Ginger, that doesn't rhyme. Fancy trying to keep fur up rhyme with molasses.
Well, I thought Terry said syrup.
Oh, Ginger.
It's the same stuff, you know. Do it again and do it fast, 'cause I'm a fast rhymer.
Well, listen.
Yeah?
There's a man in the studio with a shiny dome.
Watch the flies skidding home sweet home.
And there's a girl with a shiny nose.
She shines in society, I suppose.
You certainly can rhyme.
Yeah, say some more.
There's a man I've never seen in all my life.
You mean that man there with the other man's wife?
As a rhyming poet, you're the bunk.
As you think, so I think.
And you admit that you're all a bluff?
Yeah, there's no need to crawl, it's quite enough.
If you're so good, then rhyme psychology.
Yeah.
I bet you can't yourself, by golly. How's that?
That's another rhyme. Catastrophe. Now, this one. Catastrophe.
Yeah, that's easy. 1, 2, 3.
Well, listen. Early to bed and early to rise.
Up every time the baby cries.
Well, I take back what I said.
So do I.
Yeah, there's no need to crawl, kids. Look, I got time to give you my latest poem. Roses are red and violets are pink, and it...
You're wrong.
Eh?
You're wrong.
Wrong.
No, don't give me that. Roses are red and violets are pink.
You're wrong.
You're wrong. Violets are not pink.
Oh, don't give me that. Roses are red and violets are pink.
Violets are not pink.
Well, I ought to know. I saw him hanging on the line.
No, Ginger, no.
Oh, go on.
No more, no.
Just
No.
once. Go on, just once.
Well, look who's crawling.
I'm not crawling. I just want to know one more person who swears they wouldn't be without Wrigley's Fruity Juice.
Well, all right, just one, Ginger. And this girl was a waitress who wouldn't be without Wrigley's for anything. She rather liked her job because she liked to study different types of human nature. One day an old boy came in, evidently in a very bad temper. He was a regular customer of hers and quite often had these fits of bad temper. Something happened, and old Sourpuss got a cup of coffee over his table and himself.
How fascinating.
He swore it was her fault, but she knew it wasn't, but he was getting ready to raise the roof and report her, and that may have lost her a job. So while old Sourpuss was taking in breath to roll the place down, she hands him a packet of juicy fruit and said, "Here, chew these till I get back with a fresh cloth," and dashed off, you see. Sourpuss was so astonished he opened the juicy fruit and put the whole lot in his mouth and champed away like fury. When she got back with the clean cloth, he was all smiles. What unusual flavor these things have, he said. What is it? Fancy never having heard of juicy fruit.
It's ridiculous.
Yes. Now, my waitress friend said, "Well, it's Wrigley's juicy fruit, sir, and they're only a penny a packet everywhere." Very well, he said, "Forget the spilled coffee. It might have been my fault. I'll forgive you for introducing me to this delicious juicy fruit chewing gum." She didn't tell him that chewing was an emotional outlet, that his enjoyment of Wrigley's intriguing juicy fruit had eased his nervous tension. She just kept her job and was never without a very handy supply of juicy fruit.
How fascinating. The moral is always keep Frizzy Jude handy.
You can, of course, if you...
Always take your change. Hello. Can you hear me? Blimey, I'm puffed out.
I beg your pardon.
I'm puffed out.
You're puffed out.
Mm-hmm. My brother has just been taken to the hospital.
Hospital, Ginger.
Hey, that's my brother, yeah.
That's right, to the hospital.
Been taken there too.
But, Ginger, just a minute. I saw your brother this afternoon with a pretty girl.
So did her husband. Been taken to the hospital.
I see, yes. And now he's in hospital.
Yes. And he never was very healthy, you know. Takes after me.
Takes after you. You're really healthy, are you?
I just said he takes after me.
No, I see. You
Don't
won't talk, will you?
I don't want words shoved down my neck.
No. So you refuse to talk, huh?
Uh-huh.
Well, I'll have you know that I'm very healthy, Ginger. I always take a cold swim every morning before breakfast. You should try it.
Take it, what?
I said I always take a cold swim every morning before breakfast. You should try it.
I know. But it takes up too much of my time. That's
Nonsense,
the trouble.
Ginger, nonsense. A cold plunge only takes a minute.
Yeah, but I spend a couple of hours in bed hesitating. And I do a fair bit of thinking, too.
Why, have you got something on your mind?
Yeah, I'm in love. I'm in love. And believe me, a good girl is hard to find.
Oh, I don't know, Ginger. I wouldn't go so far as to say that.
I would.
Oh, no.
And I can prove it. A
Can
good
you?
girl is hard to find. So is a collar stud. A stud usually rolls under the dressing table. That's obscurity. Well, obscurity is unknown. Therefore, a nice girl is unknown. And yet still, even so, come what you think, I'm thinking of getting married.
You better think twice.
No, that'd be bigamy. I don't know whether to get married and let me wife keep me, or whether to go back to my old job,
Well, what's that?
looking for work.
You look for work. You've never done a day's work in your life.
Neither did you. You take after your father.
Now, Ginger, I won't stand for that. My father worked.
What did he do?
Well,
what did he do?
Well, he had a very good job. Very good job indeed. He was a detective in the Mint.
Detective in the Mint.
Kind of a spy, you know.
Blimey. Do you hear that, Mouse?
What?
Terry's father was a mince pie.
Listen to me. Look, dimwit, if I...
Who are you calling dimwit? Don't give me the dimwit stuff.
That's you.
You should talk. ... You!
Pause.
Look at your brother. Now there is a dimwit.
Listen, there's no reason for my brother being simple-minded. There's no reason why you should bring it up.
What? I feel all right.
Listen, I say there's no reason why you should bring up the subject.
What subject?
Well, there is a reason for my brother being simple-minded.
Yes? He takes after the rest of the family, doesn't he?
No, listen. As a matter of fact, he injured his head.
Oh, I see. Had a shampoo, Terry.
No, look. He got a fracture at the base of the brain.
Doug bit him on the heel.
Don't be a fool. His brain isn't in his foot.
His brain isn't in his foot?
No.
Oh. Must have slipped through a hole in his socks.
Ginger, he had no socks. And a dog didn't bite him.
Ah. Well, now, I thought it was funny that a dog would take such a risk.
Now, that'll do. I'm telling you it had nothing to do with a dog, and it was a mule.
A mule?
Yes. My brother was kicked in the head by a donkey.
Terry,
Yes, Ginger.
you ought to be ashamed of yourself kicking him.
Ginger. Mal said a donkey kicked him. Do I look like a donkey?
Well, don't ask me now. There might be a donkey listening in, and I wouldn't want to hurt his feelings.
Listen, you wait until the day that you propose. You'll look just as funny.
Yeah. July flea.
What name?
July Flea.
July Flea. What's July Flea?
I think that it's July B.
July B?
Or is
What's
it
July?
April B?
April?
Maybe, maybe. Yeah, well, I don't think I'll ever get married. I want to, but I as a matter of fact, I'm not game.
Well, why?
Well, I'd like to get married, I suppose, but I ain't going to the sort of girl you know.
Well, why don't you propose to her?
Well, I don't know what to say.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ginger.
Yes?
Yeah.
Well, that's decent of you.
Thank you, Ginger.
Yes. You're not going to be there anyway. It's going to be private.
I'll teach you what to say beforehand.
Well, there's no time like the present. What do I do?
Well, Ginger, first you take her hand in yours and you look into her eyes.
The good one or the bad one?
Whichever one you like.
I like her kind eye most.
Well, is one eye kinder than the other?
Which eye's the kindest?
The glass one.
Well, Ginger, you look into her eye, you take a hand and you say, darling, there comes a time in every man's life when he feels he needs a mate. Now say that.
Darling, there comes a time in every man's life when he feels he's met his fate.
Ginger needs a mate.
Oh, yeah, feed the plate, yeah.
Needs a mate.
Oh, yeah, needs a plate. That's the
Then,
mate.
Ginger, then the girl speaks.
What does she say?
Well, I'm not so sure of that.
Do you know now?
No.
Blimey, listen, you've both been through this proposing business and you don't know what the girls say.
No. Don't, if I remember rightly, don't they say something about when you propose? They sort of say, "This is so sudden."
Oh yeah. The girls say this is so sudden. That's right. And the old maids say this is so seldom.
Look, Ginger.
Yeah.
Why don't you try it out? Try proposing to your girl.
Well, she isn't here tonight. She's out with a boyfriend.
Well, propose to Terry.
No fear, no. I'm not going to propose to Terry. What if he accepts me? Blimey, won't I be in a mess then? I don't want to marry a pudding.
I'll pudding you. Just pretend I'm your girlfriend, don't you understand?
I see. Pretend that you're my girlfriend.
Yes.
Well, will you act like my girl does?
Yes.
Well, I won't do it.
Why not?
I don't want another black eye.
Listen, go on. Look, pretend Terry is your girl, and we'll see what sort of a job you make of a proposal.
All right, but mind, I'm not serious. I'm only making out.
All right.
Hello there, Arabelle.
Is that my name, Arabelle?
Yes.
Heaven help us.
How
Go
you
on.
doing, Arabelle? Listen, I've come over to ask you for your hand and what goes with it. Will you and me get spliced?
Ginger, this is so sudden.
What do you mean sudden? You've been expecting this for weeks.
No, Ginger, no, I had no idea.
You've got a cold, haven't you, Arabelle?
My voice is a little deep tonight. Go on.
Deep, it's like a depth charge, Arabelle.
Put a depth charge into you if you don't get on with the business.
Well,
Go on.
Let's get engaged, Ara. Ara is short for Arabelle.
I guess that. Go
Let's
on.
get engaged, because I got the ring.
But before we can become engaged, Ginger, you must ask Father's consent, you know.
Oh,
Yes.
I got to ask your father.
Yes, and be sure you catch him when he's in a good humour, too.
When is that, Ara?
Well, you call me Arabella. Father is most cheerful just after he's had a bath.
Well, then I might have to wait 6 months to see it.
Nothing of the sort. Father bathes regularly.
Yeah, regularly, but not often.
And what's more, in spite of the suddenness of your proposal, Ginger, the father is home tonight.
Well, that'll be good news for the installment collectors.
Well, Ginger, if you want to see him, between 7 and 8...
She doesn't sound a bit like Arabella, really, you don't. Can't you put on your sissy voice?
No, I haven't got a sissy voice.
What's the matter?
Cold. Go on. Between
I'll say
7 and
you're
8,
very cold,
Father is
Arabella.
in the billiard room, and between 8 and 9, he's in the library.
Okay, I'll see him in the library, Ara.
Why not in the billiard room?
Well, I'd rather be hit by a book than a billiard cue. The last father-in-law I saw, he threw me out because I didn't have enough money. The way women spend money nowadays is enough to put any man on the rocks.
Well, Ginger, after all, money was made to be spent, you know. Why, every week my father pays the dressmaker £50 for my clothes. Mrs. Arabella's still talking.
What?
You heard what I
I've still got
said.
to kid your Arabella.
Yes.
You look a bit like her, too, but... Your father, Arabella, you don't say.
Mm-hmm.
Your father pays the dressmaker £50 a week for your clothes?
Yes.
£50 every week?
Yes, every week.
Every week? Your father pays the dressmaker £50?
Yes.
Fare thee well, Arabella.
Why, where are you going?
I'm going to marry your dressmaker.
There's nothing new under the sun.
A dumbfound
A
statement.
profound statement,
That's
that
right,
is.
yes.
The dumbfound statement.
Well, profound.
Yes.
And it's true.
Thank you, Ginger. I was reading the other day that it was way back in the days of the ancient Greeks that the dentistry first began to be really recognized. I think it was around the year 1250 BC when Esculapius...
Before
the god-
circuses.
No, Ginger. Just 1250 BC when Esculapius, the god of medicine, flourished, that serious dentistry began to be studied.
We've come a long way since then.
Yes, Ginger. They didn't know that
We've
the form...
decayed.
We've done nothing of the sort.
Well, it's been a decade since then.
A decade.
That's
Thank
much
you,
better.
Mal, thank you.
They didn't know that the formation of healthy teeth in childhood was the best insurance against teeth trouble later. Take your children, for instance.
Mine?
No, you nitwit. The child or children of any of our listeners. Would you like them to grow up with good, healthy teeth and attractive smiles? Mm-hmm. Why, of course you would.
Yeah.
And when they ask you for sweets, you know, hey, Mum, can I have a sweet? Can I? Hey, please, hi. Give them Wrigley's delicious PK and spearmint. Chewing is the very best thing for young jaws, as your dentist will heartily agree. Chewing helps teeth grow straight and free of any crowding in firmly molded jaws, and it helps keep those young teeth clean and gleaming. As the youngsters chew, that healthful PK and spearmint is adding an extra bit of polish and sparkle here, there, and everywhere.
True,
It stimulates the flow of lymph necessary to keep the gums healthy.
Definitely.
And the massage their gums are getting from that chewing is the best thing they could have.
Positively.
Encourage your youngsters to chew delicious PK and spearmint regularly for strong, uncrowded teeth and a firm jaw.
Absolutely.
And remember, regular enjoyment of Wrigley's healthful PK and spearmint helps build the smiles of the future. PK and spearmint are only a penny a packet everywhere.
Yeah, so even itsy-bitsy kids can afford PK.
And spearmint.
Yeah, and Fruity Jude. Okay?
PK.
Good night.
Good night.
I say, Mal, can I come around to your joint tonight?
You want to come around to my place?
Yeah?
Why?
Well, Aunt Pooty is staying with us and she's learning to play the violin. And she has a terrible time trying to learn.
She has a terrible time trying to learn the violin, Ginger.
Yes,
Which notes bother her most?
the ones the neighbours send her. I don't think that Aunt Pooty will ever be able to play the Ujaca fiddle.
Well, you know, Ginger, my father was a great violinist.
He was. Used to fiddle around a bit, did he, eh?
Yes, he loved his violin.
Come on, loved his violin.
Yes,
That's pretty, isn't
loved
it?
his violin. In fact, he loved it so much that when he died, we had his coffin made extra large and buried his violin with him.
What's funny about that?
Blimey, it's lucky he didn't play the organ at the town hall. I say, Terry.
Well, all right, what is it, Ginger?
Do you want to see something swell?
Something swell, sure, yeah.
Or stick a sponge in water.
Ginger, I want a word with you.
A word?
Yes.
Go ahead. You can have more than one. Have as many as you like. They're all yours, you know.
Well, yesterday I asked you to call in at the photographer's and pick up a photograph of me.
Blimey, yes. You did, yes.
Well, where is it?
Oh, I haven't got it with me. It's down at the bottom of my garden on a stick.
You've got it down the bottom of the garden on a stick?
Yeah.
So the neighbours can see it, I suppose.
Now to frighten the birds away.
Thanks very much. I'll bet it didn't work.
Oh, that's where you're wrong. It worked overtime.
What do you mean?
The birds were so scared, they brought back all the seed they took away the week before. Funny thing, you know, about that. I got a riddle about that.
A riddle about birds, Ginger?
Yes?
Yeah.
Know where the first bird came from?
The first bird came from?
Mm-hmm.
Well, from the egg, I presume.
Yeah, well, where did the first egg come from?
Yes, it's difficult, isn't it?
You have a shot now. Where did the first egg come from?
From the bird.
Yeah, well, where did the first bird come from?
From the egg.
We're getting nowhere with you. Where did the first egg come from?
From the bird.
Well, where did the first bird come from?
From the egg.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, which came first, the bird or the egg?
I don't know. Which did?
Oh, the bird came first.
Where'd the first bird come from?
From the egg.
Where did the very first egg come from?
From the bird.
Well, what about that bird?
Oh, the first bird came from the seed.
What seed?
Bird seed. Yes.
You got a nerve, you have. Fancy putting my photograph in the garden.
Well, I thought it might do you good.
In what way?
Being in the garden, I thought it might get you a little fresh hair. You see?
Ginger, what a terrible gag.
Don't you like gags?
Well, matter of fact, I do. I do like gags.
Well, I'd like to put one on you.
Talking of photographs, Ginger, have you had any luck with your new camera?
Oh, luck, I'll say. I was down at the beach last Sunday and I took a beaut photo.
What happened to it?
Well, a guy gave me £5 to destroy it. And here's another photo I got with me, what I took. See this one? Not a snifter. That's a mad hen.
A mad hen?
It's a crazy hen, yes.
Well, what's she trying to do?
Trying to lay a foundation stone. That's
Listen.
a candid camera.
Listen to me, Ginger. When you take pictures, do you just print the one or do you make duplicates?
Duplicates? Oh, you mean those 5 kids in Canada?
No, Ginger, no.
Listen, you change the subject too often for us to keep up with you. A moment ago you were talking about your garden. How's that getting on? It was a nice rose that you showed me the other day.
Well, that wasn't a rose, Mal. That was a chrysanthemum.
Chrysanthemum, Ginger.
It was, too.
No, Ginger, it was a rose.
Don't be a deal, Mal. I ought to know what it was. I planted the darn thing in my own garden. I grew it. It was a chrysanthemum.
You're wrong, Ginger. It was a rose.
I tell you, it was a chrysanthemum. I remember writing the name on the label where I planted it.
All right, then. If it's a chrysanthemum, tell me how you spell it.
Oh, chrysanthemum. Well, it's curtain and that's a churn.
Go on.
And a U and a you're right, Mal, it's a rose. You should see my garden. I've got some lovely big gum trees growing in my garden.
In your garden. Gum trees, eh?
Yes.
What do you do with them, Ginger?
I use the leaves to make eucalyptus.
You better stick to gum leaves, I think. You mean eucalyptus.
Yes. Ronnie, you're not going to ask me how to spell that, are you?
Ginger, I never asked the impossible. Tell me, what do you do with the eucalyptus?
Use it to make liniment.
Well, what do you do with the liniment?
Well, you two ask so many silly questions, you give me a pain in the neck. I can't help it.
Tell me, how are your tulips?
Hey?
How are your tulips?
Not so good. I cut one today shaving.
Not tulips, I said tulips.
Oh, tulips. Oh, yes, the tulip tree is turning red.
What?
I'm not sure. I think it's blushing because its limbs are bare.
Hey, you know, Ginger, I've got a garden. I've got a lovely garden at home.
Have you
A little
really?
corker. I went into my garden the other day, and what do you think I
Wouldn't
found?
be much room in the garden with you in it, would there?
There's plenty of room. It's a very big garden. But what do you think I found there?
I don't know what.
Oh, it's too bad. I was awfully disappointed. I found my pansies were drooping.
They were?
Yeah.
Why don't you wear braces as well as
I said pansies.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said panties.
Ginger, do you suffer from weeds?
Huh?
Do you suffer from weeds?
I don't, but my garden does.
I know that.
And what the heck are you asking me for? Fair dinkum, now you ask the silliest questions.
Well, listen. Which are the easiest weeds to kill?
The easiest to kill, I think, of the weeds would be widow weeds.
Widow's weeds.
Yeah. You just say to them, wilt thou, and they wilt.
Ginger, why the...
Just a minute, it's about my turn to ask a question.
Well, all right, then go ahead.
What did the old rose say to the young rose?
I've no idea, Ginger. What did it say?
Hi, bud.
Oh. Listen, I'd like some advice from you if I can get it.
Yes?
What's the best way of raising peas?
With a fork, they roll off a knife.
Ginger, I passed your place yesterday.
Thanks, Mal.
What do you mean, thanks?
Thanks for passing my place.
As I was saying, I passed your place yesterday, and you were cutting down that big fig tree in front.
Oh, you mean the dirty, big, gigantic, immense fig tree?
Yeah, that's the one. Why were you cutting it down?
For the figs.
Ah, but Ginger, the figs aren't ripe yet.
No, but they'll be ripe by the time I get that cut down.
Well, listen, how are your radishes, Ginger?
Oh, the darn things have all been eaten by the slugs.
Eaten by slugs, eh? Oh, that's too bad. Why don't you put some salt down?
No fair. They want... You're not going to spoil them. If I put salt, they'll want pepper.
Tell me.
Mustard and everything. All the condiments.
Yes, Ginger, I quite realise
And
that.
it's not good for slugs.
We'll leave that go, hey? Shall we?
Yes.
Tell me, have you got all mod cons in your garden? Have you got everything there? For instance, have you got a sundial?
No, we don't need one.
Why not?
My father can tell the time in the middle of the night.
Oh, how does he do that?
Makes me get up out of bed and look at the clock.
You know, I'm very proud of my sunflowers.
You are?
You know, last year they were so tall I had to use a step ladder to tie them up.
Boy, you ain't seen nothing until you seen my sunflowers.
Are yours very tall?
Tall? Last year, most of mine was ruined by passing aeroplanes. But there's one flower in your garden that I like, Mal.
What was that?
The little purplish one growing down at the bottom of the garden among the empties, you know?
Yeah, I know the one you mean. That family belongs to the petunia family.
What?
The petunia family.
Oh, so it isn't yours after all. You're just minding it for someone.
No, it's a petunia.
I like tomatoes too. Did I ever tell you drips about the prize tomatoes I grew?
No, but you will.
Then pin back your ears and listen, because I'm going to. I grew the biggest tomato in the district.
Ah, that was good for you, Ginger. How big was it?
Ooh, it was a bit about, I'd say to be, anything around a... in fact, I think it was a bit bigger than that.
Ginger, how big was it? How big was it?
Ooh, almost as big as a football.
Oh, about as big as my head, would it be?
But not so thick.
Ginger, you seem to be quite an expert gardener. Tell me, is it true that some plants suffer from over-drinking?
Yes, that's perfectly correct.
It is.
Yes.
Correct, hey?
Oh, definitely.
Have you had much trouble in that direction?
I'll say, you should have seen my aspidestra reaching out for an aspirin this morning. Must have had a hangover. Of course, my trouble is that I have too many fountains in my garden.
Too many fountains.
Yes, I'm crazy about fountains. I think that Niagara Falls would be much more interesting if the water went up.
No doubt about that, Ginger, but listen to me. You've given us such a learned discourse on gardening that you've got me very interested to know exactly where you learnt so much about it.
Oh, I found out a lot from Greta Garbo when I was in Hollywood.
Oh, I see. Is Garbo a gardener?
Oh, I'll say. She's so crazy about gardens that she goes around saying, I want to be a lawn. I want to be a lawn.
I want to be alone.
Pardon?
I want to be alone.
Well, no one's stopping you. Tick off.
Listen, Ginger, you're such a great gardener. Have you ever tried climbing roses?
Have I ever tried what?
Climbing roses?
What do you think I am, a caterpillar?
Ginger.
Listen, Ginger, just one more question, if you don't mind.
Yes, Terry.
May I have this one question?
Yes, Terry.
Thank you, Ginger. I can
What's
hardly
the
stand
question?
it. Well, Ginger, which worries you most, the worms or the sparrows?
Which worries me most, worms or the sparrows?
Yes.
Well, I could hardly say. I've never had the sparrows.
We are still peering into the occult world, into the land of the crystal gazer. And once again we bring you the art of reading character from the shape of the mouth. Tonight your old counselor and seer, Terry Ben Ali Ben Abu Ben Deer, peers into the crystal and sees. Ah, another mouth. A mouth, what is this? A mouth that turns down at the corners? Oh dear, that's bad. Reading character from that means the owner is a very unhappy person. Probably got a grudge against the world, you know. It's a mouth that certainly needs its Wrigley's and needs that Wrigley's urgently, too. Some Wrigley's PK would make it feel better right away because chewing is an emotional outlet. PK steadies the nerves, calms your temper, and soon makes you realize that maybe you were wasting an awful lot of energy over something that really wasn't important at all. So don't be down in the dumps. Cheer up there. Come on, nothing's as bad as all that. Enjoy some refreshing PK and let it ease that nervous strain you're under, that feeling of stress and tension. You'll feel better in next to no time. Nerve-steadying, tension-relieving PK is only a penny a packet everywhere. And now here come Mal Verco and Ginger. What's all this?
Ladies and gentlemen, and anyone else happening to be listening in, I am delighted to announce that my reputation as a great lover has at last been recognised.
Ginger, what on earth are you talking about?
During the week, I've had millions of requests for advice.
How many requests?
Well, I've had 3 people write in.
That's more like it.
Mal, I know it's the wrong time to bring it up, Palsy-Walsy, but could you lend me...
No.
Mal, could I borrow...
No.
No money?
No.
Mal, I'm serious. Have you got any money you could lend me? I'll pay you back.
Yeah, but when?
When me soft ship comes in.
When your soft chip comes in.
Yeah, they've all been hard ships up to date.
Ginger, I can't go on lending you money. What makes you think I've got so much?
Well, you own a lot of land.
I don't own any land.
You must. You've got a peninsula all to yourself.
Ginger, I don't own a peninsula. That's a long neck of dirt that water never touches.
Well, you've got one. But I got 3.
You got 3?
I got 3.
You got 3 what?
3 letters asking for advice.
I say 3 letters asking for advice, but what sort of advice have they been asking for, Ginger?
Advice to the love lawn.
Advice to the love lawn, eh?
Yes, and when I say love lawn, I don't mean the grass in the park either, see?
Ginger,
Yeah.
what do you mean? Do you mean to say that people have written in asking your advice about love?
Well, why not? After all, I'm public lover number 1. I'm greater than Cascara. You know, the big joker what always was the lover.
Ginger, that wasn't Cascara.
It was Casanova.
Well, I'm greater than him, too.
I see. But are you better than Don Juan, Ginger?
Better than who?
Are you better than Don Juan?
Of course, I'm much better than Don Juan. I'm Don 2.
All right. How do you propose to give this advice? This benefit of your experience as a great lover?
Well, you're not at me, are you?
No, Ginger, I'm not at you.
Blimey, if I thought you were, I'd go up and dong you. Regardless of your age or sex.
All right, listen. How are you going to give this advice?
Well, I've put a lot of thought into the matter, boys. And I'm going to illustrate how to propose to a girl. And then how to approach her old man.
Her father. How to propose to a girl and how to approach her father.
Yes, you've got the idea.
But how are you going to do all this?
With the doubtful assistance of you two drips.
Where to help you?
If possible, which I doubt.
I see. Well, what am I to be?
You, Mal, are to be the father of the girl of my dreams. And I have some horrible dreams.
Ginger,
Yes, Terry?
as if I didn't know. What am I to be?
I've got a little surprise for you,
I
Terry.
don't think it will be.
You're going to love this. You're going to be the girl of my dreams.
Oh, Ginger. I was afraid of this. I'm to be the girl of your dreams.
You needn't be afraid of me. Stop blushing, you big sissy. We'll only be acting.
I hope so.
You don't hope so any more than I do. I know you radio announcers.
All right, Ginger. Let's get on with this proposal scene.
Yes. Come on, Terry. Sit down beside me and let me hold your hand.
Why do you want to hold my hand?
Well, you don't think I want me face smacked, do you?
All right, start off.
Good evening, Teresia.
Listen, just a minute, will you? Is that my name, Teresa?
Yes, Teresa.
Why am I called Teresa?
Because you're so green, you see.
Oh!
Good evening, Teresa.
Good evening, Ginger.
Teresa, my own true love. Teresa, my beautiful little bird.
Little bird. You mean I'm like a little bird, Ginger?
Yes, Teresa.
What sort of a bird, Ginger?
A lyrebird.
Whoa!
Oh, Teresa, mind your voice. I've been coming here to see you now every night for 13 years, Teresa.
That's right, Ginger. Every night for 13 years you've been coming here to see me.
Yes, and I'd have asked you to marry me, but for one thing.
What is that, Ginger?
If I married you, I'd have nowhere to spend my evenings.
Oh, Ginger, you are a silly boy.
Oh, don't scold me.
I'll flatten you.
You got the croup, Teresa. Got the whoop-whoops. The hoop-and-woofs.
I want a cough drop.
But, Ginger, we could still spend our evenings together, you know, in our own little home.
What? Me spend an evening alone in a house with a woman I hardly know?
What, after 13 years?
Yeah.
Listen, Ginger,
You're not a ventriloquist, are you?
I'll be a sore throat expert before I finish this.
Come on, Teresa, try hard, dear.
Ginger, you do love me, don't you?
Teresa, I love you with a passion fruit. With a passion that runs up my spine and parts my hair in the middle.
Well, Ginger, why don't you marry me?
Hey, wait a minute. Who's doing this proposing, you or me?
You!
Well, let me do it and don't be so impetuous.
All right, darling, I'm terribly sorry.
So you should be, Teresa. It's not at all modesty or maidenly of you, Teresa. I'm rather ashamed of you.
Oh, Ginger, I'm so sorry.
Tell me, Teresa, do you love me?
Uh-huh.
Do you think I'm the most handsome man you've ever met?
Uh-huh.
Do you like my flashing eyes, my curly hair, my upright manly figure?
Uh-huh.
Oh, Teresa, say some more lovely things.
Oh, I do love you, though. I love you so much.
And I love you too. I'd go through fire and water for you.
You'd go through fire and water for me?
Well, I'd sooner go through fire than water, but...
Why?
Well, I'd rather be hot than all wet.
Darling, go and ask my father for his consent, will you?
Has he got one?
I think he's all right.
Well, what do you want it for?
Get on with it.
Where is your father, Therese? He's out on the Therese, is he?
No, he's out in the garden. Go and see him now, will you?
Now, let's wait till he comes in here into the lounge.
Why?
Well, I'd rather be hit by a cushion than a cauliflower. Shh.
Here he comes now, Ginger.
Oh, yes. Good evening, Mr. Drizzlepuss.
Good evening, my boy.
Mr. Drizzlepuss, I want to marry your daughter.
You want my daughter's hand?
Yes, I do. I'll take the rest, too. That fooled you, didn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, you thought I'd be more interested in her legs, didn't you?
So you want to marry my daughter?
Well, I either do that or find myself a job, that's all.
Well, I'll have to consider this. How much money have you?
£5 a week.
Oh, £5 a week. Well, my daughter has an allowance of £3 a week, so that makes...
I've already counted her £3 in.
Where do you propose to live?
Where do I propose to live? Well,
You know that my daughter has a very good home here.
I know that, and I was thinking it'd be rather cruel to take her away from it.
Do you think that you'll be able to give Teresa all she wants?
Oh, I'm sure of it, Mr. Drizzlepuss.
What makes you so certain?
Well, she says she only wants me.
Besides, Daddy, Ginger has expectations, you know.
Expectations? What sort of expectations?
Well, he expects to come into a fortune. Don't you, darling?
Yes, sweetie pie.
Ah, well, that's different. What is this fortune that you're expecting?
Well, anything between £5 and £12,000.
What do you mean? Why are you so uncertain of the amount?
Well, it's a ticket I've got in tats, you see.
Listen, young man, how do I know you'll love my daughter enough to marry her?
Whoa, Daddy! How can you ask such a thing? Whoa!
Attaboy, Teresa.
Whoa! Why, Ginger has said that he'd face death for me.
Face death for you? But last week when you were out hiking and you met a bull, Ginger turned and ran.
I know I did.
Well, what do you mean? You'd face death for her?
Well, the damn bull wasn't dead.
Well, young man, I like you very much. You're quite nice and charming, and I'm very fond of you.
I say, Mr. Drizzlepuss,
Well?
I don't want to marry you. I want to marry your daughter.
Well, it's all a question of money.
Money is the question.
Yes.
Well, give me a few questions.
Well, darling, you see, I have very expensive tastes. I have.
You have?
Yes, I
Of course,
have.
you've got a big mouth, haven't you?
I've got a big foot, too, if you're not careful.
You've got a big throat, too, haven't you, Teresa?
I need it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Wait, what was I talking about, Mr. Drizzlepuss?
I said that I have very expensive tastes.
You have?
Yes. For instance, I spend £100 a year with my hairdresser. Did you know that?
You spend £100 a year with your hairdresser.
Yes.
Blimey.
And I spend £1,000 a year at the beauty parlour.
£1,000 a year at the beauty parlour. Truth.
And I spend £10,000 with my dressmaker.
What? You spend $10,000 a year with your dressmaker?
Yes.
Oh, well, the wedding's off.
Whoa! What? You mean you're not going to marry me, Ginger?
No fear, I'm going to marry your dressmaker.
Tell me, does your mouth turn down at the corners?
No, Teresa.
Don't call me Teresa.
Does it turn down the corners
Yeah.
like a clock face at 8:20?
Well, I hope it doesn't. I hope it goes up like 10 to 2. Because then that means that you're a happy person. Little worries never worry you, and invariably you have some Wrigley's PK handy somewhere.
Yes.
You've made the worthwhile discovery that Wrigley's Refreshing PK is a first-rate picker-upper.
Oh, definitely.
Chewing is an emotional outlet. It steadies your nerves and calms
Does it
your temper, and it makes you feel better in general.
Yes.
Keep your nerves under control. Keep Wrigley's handy all the time. Wrigley's nerve-steadying PK is only a penny a packet everywhere.
Yes. So, I wonder what?
Well, you always should know. It's your line.
Always take a change in Wrigley.
That's
isn't
right,
it?
Ginger, yes.
Well, listen, I got time to tell you about me Uncle Stint.
Well, I don't know. Let's see the
Well,
time.
he's-
Yes,
he's
just at
very-
about that time.
He's a very old man, you see. He's very old, and he went to a rejuvenating doctor.
Mm-hmm. He went to a rejuvenating doctor,
Uncle
yes.
Stint said, and he says, can you make me 18 years old again? And the doctor said he could, but it would cost £5,000. Uncle says, go ahead, hang the expense. So the doctor fixed him up, and 6 months later he called at my uncle's house and he said, well, I've made you 18 again, I've called for my money. Uncle Stint said, you can't get it. I'm underage now, and if you say I'm not, I'll sue you for fraud.